Hello everybody, my name is Hayden,
And I'm Alex.
and we're going to be talking about patch 5.18 and 5.19 today. Unfortunately, OBS is giving me a hard time, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and capture the window now instead of before I start recording, because OBS is having a problem with registering windows right now to where you cannot... It'll say that the window is minimized. Instead, it's obviously not minimized, it's right in front of your face, but it's minimized to OBS. So we are fixing it right now. So let's get this show on the road. Okay.
Very much so.
Alright, on to the patch notes. We're going to start with 5.18 today. So let's go ahead and get right on to it.
Well, I guess we can start off with Anivia, because she's first on the list. And this is actually something that I kind of wish happened before, as Anivia's been out since forever and whatnot. But her Frostbite now affects Dragon and Baron, which gives her a little bit more help to those situations. And it might seem a little overpowered, but I like the change, personally.
Right. I think it adds a lot more team play, because a lot of the reason that Anivia wasn't being played is because of the fact that she wasn't able to participate in team activities on terms of objectives. She's like, well, I'm a bird, I'm ranged, and I can basic attack, that's all fine and mighty, but I don't build Lichbane, and I can't do bonus damage to towers, Dragon, or Baron. And all she was used for was a wave clear, so while 4 of her teammates got 5v4 to Dragon, trying to get a clutch Dragon, while she's sitting there wave clearing, trying to save the base. And that was her only reason of existing at the time, unless you face roll, which happens, 50% of the time. So, I think it's a good change for team play, because, sure that the pushing of the turret is going to be clearly based on her ult and wave clearing, but, on terms of Dragons and Barons, she's actually going to be useful in terms of damage, which is going to be good.
I do agree as well.
Let's go on to Braum here.
Alright, let's see here. Just a little bit of a mana increase on the Q, which I don't honestly mind. I personally found that his Q was
A bit overpowered.
a bit overpowered. It had a lot of potential towards just being able to outpoke other enemy summoner or other enemy supports, and just having this sheer I'm not going to go anytime soon, so I'm going to be a threat towards you. Well, this now gives them a slight, I wouldn't say worry,
Yeah, I think
but
it's a balance. It's like
it's a balance.
Especially when you have lanes like Braum Lucian, since Lucian got buffed in a recent patch. I think it was 5.17 actually that we've discussed on our channel before. Is because Braum Lucian initially was a strong comp even before the buff, and after the buff it makes them an even stronger comp. It's kind of like looking at Callista Thresh or Callista Leona, and it's like, oh wow, this is really strong, let's nerf it. So like, okay, well Lucian's a bit stronger, but now Braum Lucian is too strong, so let's nerf Braum like they nerfed Callista. Just a bit, not too much, just a little bit. And that's what's good about it, in my opinion.
Well, I personally like it. Sorry, I was changing my Twitter password because somebody got into it, so I'm fixing that real quick.
Struggle.
It's actually a real big struggle because I was following, very few people, and now I have like 1,000 followers, so I gotta deal with that. Caitlyn, actually, now I completely understand why a lot of Caitlyns are starting W again. Like, when I started the game, back in early Season 3, late Season 2, whatever.
Correct.
I don't fully remember. Everybody would start W because it was just that extra vision. You couldn't afford wards as easily. Well, they hit this point when the warding totems came out. Everybody would start Q instead, just for the high poke, since you already had your vision. Well, now that there's a mana reduction on it and a slight cooldown fix for the start of the game, I do understand why people would start it, and I do like this change.
I think W is honestly just the best choice to start anyways on Caitlyn. Sure, you can start for the poke early damage on Q, but what if they invade? What if you invade? What if they panic and they walk into it thinking, oh, I can just walk away if I try to, juke the bush and walk out? It's like, well, now there's a trap in there. It's just, it makes W stronger and I like it, just because it just puts more panic on the map.
Oh, yeah.
It puts more pressure in several places. Darius.
Back to this Claptrap, or the Yordle Snap Trap real quick. I kind of wish they'd allow more Snap Traps on the map. I believe the cap is, 3?
3, yeah.
It's just a personal thing. I used to play a lot of Caitlyn back when I was new at ADC. And I always found that only having 3 kind of destroyed the vision. But I figured it would be a balance, even if they increased it to 4, since they changed how the vision works inside of the brush for them.
Mm-hmm.
It would help even out the scaling a bit.
I didn't know. I thought that Caitlyn traps didn't give vision, only when you first plant them and then the vision goes away. It's kind of like
they give you, it's kind of like Nidalee, but it's a small radius around it as well.
Okay. Let's see here. What else do we have? We have Darius.
Now, I didn't play much of Darius. I still haven't played much of Darius, so this is all on you.
Okay, well, then I'll explain it out. So basically, Darius before was overpowered, and he still is. However, before it was a fact that you could hit 2 champions for 30% missing health, and you could hit up to 2 champions, and there was 1 mana cost at all ranks, so it kind of worked like Trundle's Q, like his Chomp.
Oh, yeah?
But now, they made it not nerfed. They made it nerfed for, early game, but not late game.
Mm-hmm.
Because in early game, the way it works now is you can hit 3 champions for 12% missing health each for a maximum of 36.
Yes.
And the mana cost increased by 5 for rank. Now, that's not a huge mana cost increase, honestly, but Darius does run them fairly quick now, since his mana per level isn't that high. So, getting that heal per hit is not that bad, but in team fights, like you saw in Worlds, which we'll cover in another episode, where Cloud9 Balls got a pentakill against Fnatic with Darius.
Yeah, I do remember that one.
And one of the problems that Balls was having that early game was that he did not heal enough off of Q, and he was picked off a couple times off of it, for that game was very close. Just using this as an example. Late game, you hit more than 3 people with the blade, you get the 36% missing health, you're a bit tankier, you don't die, and you get the pentakill. So you have no problems. No, that's about all you can honestly talk about his decimate at this point.
I do know that his late game was quite a bit weak. Personally, do you feel that we'll be seeing quite a bit more Darius? I know since he's being picked in Worlds.
He's been picked in almost every game in Worlds, but the thing is he has a very small win rate because not a lot of people are playing him correctly. Not saying that the Worlds teams are garbage, because they're amazing and I'm garbage. But
that's how we all feel.
Thing is some comps know how Darius is easily counterable at the same time that he is not counterable.
Yes.
So you have to play the way you would play a lane very, very differently. So I think that you will see a lot more Darius, but you'll definitely will be able to tell the difference from a good Darius between a bad Darius. So that's about as much as you can talk about it. Next up, we have Elise here. Slight debuff.
Yeah,
now,
it's slight nerf to that.
As a person who's pretty much a jungler on a ranked team, I play a lot of Elise, and let me just tell you that this has made no difference in the game at all.
I wouldn't expect it to, because all of her power comes from that percent health damage that she does.
Correct. Now, if you're playing Cinder Hulk and you're playing team comp for late game, because the thing with Elise is you want to get Runeglaive for wave clearing and early pressure, and then if things are getting to late game and you're not face rolling at that point, you would want to go Cinder Hulk, and that's where the Spiderling base damage is important. Now with this damage, you're basically just a small tank, and you have to get things like Abyssal Scepter instead of just going full tank with Cinderhulk. And it's not that big of a change. It doesn't bother me, since I play a lot of Elise anyway.
Yeah.
But tankier, tanky Elise shouldn't be bad. Like tanky Elise still isn't bad, but it's nerfed, and damage Elise is still the same, because it's based off percentage damage and Runeglaive proc. So I don't see that much of a change in this, honestly.
I wouldn't expect there to be much of a change.
Right. I don't see anything wrong with this. Next up, we have Ezreal.
Oh, I am such a fanboy for Ezreal. And you know as well as I do that I can make a decent Ezreal if I feel up to it.
Of course.
Well, this little, even the slight 80 ratio difference, before he never had an 80 ratio scaling. Well, this was for Z. Well, now, I'm a person who, if I know I can get the kill with E,
Then you're going to go for the kill with E.
I'm going to go for the kill with the E. Now that it's quite a bit stronger, and I built blue build Ezreal, this
now it's even bigger of a...
escalates hugely for me.
Yeah, I agree. They didn't get rid of the AP scaling. It has an AP and an AD scaling, so both sections of Ezreal, whether you're playing Ezreal mid, anything, is still the same. It's like fighting a Syndra. You're hiding in a bush, the Syndra's walking up, you ult EQW, and you're easy peasy as an AP Ezreal.
This just makes AD Ezreal's just that much stronger, because even when you're running away, if, say, Elise Sin has his Q on you and he starts to go in on you and you use your E to start, making a slight gap, well, this adds some extra damage on him, so maybe he'll back off if he's into your turret, or maybe you'll even be able to kill him.
Possibly, yeah.
So
it all depends on situations, especially when it's Sin.
This next one, this is all
Fiora,
you.
this is what actually needed to happen. I'm not gonna lie,
All right.
Fiora, when Fiora was the new Fiora was first released, I played, you know me, I played the literal fuck out of Fiora.
Oh yeah.
Played it almost every game, it was fun. This needed to happen. The base armor needed to go down because things like Darius were losing to her in duels. Well, obviously she's the grand duelist, like have a sword, fight me.
Yeah, the best duelist in the game.
Even then, the base health can go down because of the way she builds. The base armor can go down just from generalization. The health growth stat, I don't know a whole lot about health growth. It's whatever to me.
Oh, that's how much health they get each time.
Correct. But it's like, it's whatever to me.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter because of the way I build. Lifesteal is, inevitable. Q now reveals Fiora to her target if she hits them. This is a buff, and needed to happen as well because some people were like, "Oh, I can play Bush and try to be good," and now it's not that way. Now it's IQ you. If I know you're vital before you walk in the bush, I'm gonna play around that, and I'm gonna trash on you. Because the thing is if you were to walk in a bush while Fiora had a vital on you,
Yes.
and you walked into a bush and lost sight, your vital would immediately refresh.
Alright.
So that makes things a little hard. It's more of like walking out in range. It's like walking a river from top lane. And now that her Q reveals the target, it's like, okay, they're going to try to refresh, but if you can aggress, you will Q into them, reveal them in the fog of war, and then find out where their new vital is, so if you have the reaction time for it, you can automatically play against vitals and be fine.
Alright.
I
have a question about Fiora real quick.
Okay.
Because I haven't played much Fiora. I used to be a big Fiora fanboy back when I started slowly playing and learning top lane because she was easy to pick up, she's really strong.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the current way that the vitals work, do you need to hit each side of a champion, or do you just need to hit the champion 4 times?
Okay, the way vitals work is, like, if you're using your ult, did you say?
Yes.
Okay, if you're using your ult, it sections 4 sides. It's like a circle.
Alright.
But like a square type circle. So you have 4 vitals and you smack each side. So you hit like the left side of the champion, the left vital, and then it'll drop the left vital. And it doesn't matter what section they're walking in, it's just like, it doesn't like twist around to what they're walking in, it's just a solid There's 4 vitals no matter what position they're in. Hit all 4 sides that you need to, and then if you clear all 4, it pops the heal. If you kill them and you pop at least 1, it will also pop the heal. The AoE heal that it provides.
Alright.
But that's just how it works. They made sure that it tells you that you can block Ignite. I've done it several times.
That's actually kind of cool.
Your W blocks Ignite. It's been 2 since she was released.
I've seen a lot of things blocked with that, like certain people's ults and stuff.
And now they fixed the thing. This actually pissed me off because a lot of Threshes, they would Q you, you'd parry it, but since the way it's coded, Spaghetti Code Riot, please.
Yes.
The hook would still land, but the pull effect would not. So you could also just pull yourself into Fiora if necessary and just flay her.
Okay.
Bullshit, but they fixed it. And this is a couple patches ago. Alright, Galio. Galio's next.
Alright, well I'm a little bit of a Galio fan because every once in a while I use them as a support if they have like a brand support or somebody just stupid at AP.
Mm-hmm.
But this R fix, I always had this problem where I was, spam clicking to get into people, or I'll flash click and then ult.
Right.
Well, every once in a while it would mess up the commands in which I ordered it, and it would move me after I ulted and completely break it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this 0.25 seconds is a long time if you're lining up commands. It's not a huge fix, it's not going to be a huge change, but it's something to keep in mind that a Galio like myself who initiates with this flash ult, will be able to land it a little bit more smoothly now.
Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like, it gives you time. It's like, okay, well, if you ult and it hits at least one person when you ult, you have a quarter of a second to move. And get better positioning. It's kind of like Lee Sin. Now, when I say it's kind of like Lee Sin, what I mean is if you're fast enough and you line up the commands fast enough, you can Q to somebody or you can W to a minion, and if you press your ult and then flash in the direction opposite of where you want them to go, it will do that.
Yes.
So it's like, okay, well, see, you have like a Vayne right here and a Lee Sin right here, and you want the Vayne to go where the Lee Sin is. Lee Sin wards W's, kicks, and then flashes instead of flash kick.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you flash kick, it gives Vayne enough reaction time to go into a different direction. But you R flash, and the R will start to register, and you flash, and then they'll go the opposite direction of where you just flashed, which is fun. All right, Garen, yay!
There's nothing really to touch up. This just makes Garen's laning phase quite a bit weaker. It used to be that you'd let the enemy top laner kill you, and then come back and just destroy them with your passive. Well,
yeah, which is the original thing that happened in the first place.
Quick Twitter update. I have removed all 1,000 extra things that I was following.
Mm-hmm.
And I will be able to actually concentrate fully on our video.
Nice.
Gangplank. I don't even know what to say about this.
This is a big nerf.
Like,
it's not that big of a nerf. Every scaling's damage has been reduced by 20 base damage, which is fine. It's just base damage. However, it's a lot of base damage, but the way that Keg works, it's not that bad because, it's the bonus damage. But the thing is the bonus damage follows after the amount of damage your initial parlay or basic attack does.
Yes.
So if you do the whole powder keg thing, right? You cue the keg, so like when the keg explodes and you actually get hit by it, you get hit by, because it's still strong. I play with Gangplanks and against Gangplanks all the time. It's still very, very strong.
Mm-hmm.
Does the parlay damage, does the bonus damage, and it does the armor pin. It all applies into one big burst of damage. So you can still one-shot 80 carries.
Oh yeah.
But the armor pin being reduced from 50 to 40% isn't a huge deal. It just changes the aggressiveness that Gangplank can have instead of just having a straight up, I can one-shot tanks too, like I can like half health tanks. Now it's like not the same deal. Now it's like, it's kind of like playing anybody who can one-shot squishies but have trouble against tanks.
So like Talon, or is that?
It's like playing anything that doesn't revolve themselves around penetration.
The one thing I do have to say, and this isn't necessarily about this change of Gangplank, It's the fact that people don't get if you just destroy the barrels or walk out of the barrels, you don't take any damage. I mean, sure, his parlay is still gonna crit you and do a decent amount of damage.
But the problem there is
But-
that the way that you're supposed to play Gangplank is you have one lined up somewhere, especially against melee champions where they can't just take it out right away. And then as they like either A, walk up or try to like get farm, and the keg, when you place the keg, has a very, very long range.
Yes.
So you place the second keg and then shoot the first keg and they both explode. And that's a very, very fast reaction time. You're not going to have the reaction time if you're an immobile champion to walk out of that. Unless you're right next to the line and the Gangplank does it incorrectly.
Yes.
But if you do it correctly, the damage is going to go through every time because it's literally it's not going to be impossible to walk out of in that case. It's like fighting a Kog'Maw, and Kog'Maw... Oh, not Kog'Maw. I need a melee champion. A melee champion that's immobile. Give me one.
An immobile melee champion. Shit.
Hell, Pantheon is an example.
I suppose.
So Pantheon doesn't have any dashes. He has a jump, but it's an ultimate. It takes recharge time.
Way too long.
So I'm gonna use Pantheon as an example. So
All right.
Pantheon's in lane. Gangplank. You have one mini wave and the other mini wave, obviously, and you have Pantheon. You have Gangplank. Gangplank plants one barrel right, like next to his minions or behind his minions, like just a bit behind.
All right.
Pantheon is now pressured if the Gangplank is built enough. If this is early game, then it's not that big of a deal. But
Okay.
Okay, so Pantheon's going to go up to farm. Say they're level like 9, and they have like Triforce or something. And Pantheon has whatever he has. Well,
Yeah.
now Pantheon can either A, aggress on a Gangplank, or B, try to farm, or C, try to kill the keg. If you try to go for farm, Gangplank's going to have the range to plant the second barrel and hit you with the first barrel, and they both explode. You're not going to have the reaction time to walk out of it. You're going to take damage, whether you like it or not.
Alright.
Option B is the same thing. C or B is the same result. Now, going aggressive on Gangplank is going around the barrels. He's not going to have time to press another barrel and try to get around it, especially if you try to like walk way around the barrels. You can't walk right next to the barrels, but if you walk, the barrels have a small radius around them to where before they explode each other. So you just walk wide around it, and then boom, you're good. You're set.
For anybody that doesn't know, if you have vision on the Gangplank barrels, and they are close enough to each other, they will connect by a powder line. Just in case anybody doesn't know that one.
Okay, moving on. Jarvan 4.
The next couple I could handle. Jarvan, it's just a base armor. It's not too much to say. I mean, it makes him a slight bit tankier in the start, but it's not too much to add. Nothing too scary. The Lulu change isn't too big. The health growth stat is a slight nerf. So what? You don't pay for her tankiness. You want her shield, her speed up, and her ultimate, which are all very great spells, especially for squishy ADCs like Kog'Maw or actually any ADC that you're trying to protect, period.
Right.
And then her change to the Spell Thief and Pix combination. It used to be when you auto attacked once, you get all three of charges. Well, now it's you can only get once.
No,
And-
it's like it doubles it. So you were only able to one, now you get 2. No?
No, you used to get all three charges at once.
But it's like Morg does.
Or two extra ticks. It's just now you get 2 ticks instead of all 3.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, doesn't change much, but
Okay.
it's a lot less gold you'll get.
I want
In the
to
end.
touch up something on the Jarvan armor increase. Basically, the Riot's reasoning for doing this is because recently, in recent patches before 5.18, they took out the armor on his Demacian standard.
Yeah.
Therefore, jungle clear slowed down, and then so did Jarvan's being played at all. So they had to increase it by 2 to just make sure that maybe some people will play him. But then again, in low elo like us, I'm Jarvan and I'm helping.
It's all about the sheep in our Halo.
Mm-hmm.
I've proven that the whole standard change for Jarvan wasn't too bad. We dominated a couple good games with him, but
Yeah.
that was in ranked 5s, now it's quite a bit different. So
Correct.
in the YOLO queues, I don't think we'll be seeing them until higher elo, if that.
Right. Mordekaiser.
Now, I didn't play much Mordekaiser. You were always the ADC. So, I mean, I do see a couple of changes that hurt him a little bit, but not too big.
Basically, what they did with Mordekaiser, which is still active right now, even though Wild Turtles showed people up at Worlds with it in their win, he played Mordekaiser for the one win they have currently in Worlds. And practically, his armor is lowered, his armor growth stat is higher by a quarter. His W can be self-cast now instead of only cast on allies. But when the zones overlap, you remember when we played Mordekaiser Jarvan or Mordekaiser something else several times? When we walked on top of each other, it did double the damage. It no longer does double the damage. Instead, both zones have their own damage scale. So since I can cast it on myself, say if you're off roaming like a good support does, and I am there in lane, I can W myself. So, but now it's still like a double the damage thing. But the thing is now I can summon it on myself. So it does basic damage, and then, yours basic damage together. So it's just a way of saying, hey, you can be alone now if you need to. So you solo lane Mordekaiser's a thing.
I just did the math. The armor change gives him 0.25 more armor in the late game. That's it. So it's not a big change if anybody's worried about it.
Mordekaiser?
Yes.
The health cost is basically just taking it back to old classic Mordekaiser. My W metal.
I think he honestly needed it.
He needed it because he was too overpowered. But they increased the zone ratio, the AP ratio on the zone. So it's like I think the way it works is that the zone gets increased by how much AP you have. I think that's how it works. I could be wrong. But I think that's how it increases. The deactivation damage got buffed by a lot, so you can cast on yourself and take some health back. However, the healing against minions, instead of a third being taken back, you only take a quarter of the health. Against minions.
Are you going to be playing more Mordekaiser again, or are you going to...
I'm not sure what I've been doing. I've been playing a lot more jungle and support for ranked team, because right now we're looking for another jungler and or support, because of some drama that happened a few days ago. But, at the moment, I'm not playing mid or ADC, because Gary's transitioning from support to mid.
Oh, wow, really?
And I'm transitioning from mid to either jungle or support, because our jungler is gone.
Well, if you don't want to talk about it, but...
I'm not worried about it. We can talk about it in another episode.
Okay.
Maximum units drained is now 2 instead of 3. Now, this change is actually big. Team fights are not going to be as strong. However, 2v2s in lane are going to be pretty strong. So I'm not worried about it. It's not something that can be talked about. It's more of a common sense thing that you can think about yourself and be like, well, there it is. It's not much we can talk about it. Now, this was an unnecessary change. Morgana's Q cost did not need to go down.
It didn't. It was perfectly fine at where it was.
There was no need.
I build Roa first on Morgana, and then I go into Hourglass/Boots, but... Well, that's when I'm in mid lane. I mean... Sure, it helps a little bit in lane, but... Not much. There's not much to say about it.
It's like, okay, well, this is basically for people who are bad at landing more keys. Now you don't run out of mana as fast, so it's a little bit more diverse.
I guess.
A lot more, okay, well, now that I think about it, there's a lot more roaming potential to it, too, now. But it was definitely an unnecessary change. I'll be playing a lot more Morg. Skarner's passive is weaker, and E is slowed down. This was a big change.
I actually like this change. As I said, I believe in our 5.17, Skarner's early game was really strong after they changed him. And this kind of helps balance him out a bit so that he's not overwhelming in the early levels.
Right.
And the E change, I don't feel it was necessary because late game, I mean, sure it was 65%, but if you're running cleanse or if you're, 90% of the champions of the game with some sort of escape, it doesn't matter too much.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's more of a counter jungling aspect, personally.
Yeah, it's basically, I'm in my Spire, but it's not as strong, so you can't just go, oh, I'm gonna, go. It's like playing Shaco.
Yeah.
You're gonna go for the enemy blue buff, but now that you have this Crystal Spire, now you have to give it up. And now you don't have to give it up. You can actually contest it, depending on the champion you are playing. And the slow on E makes it better. It makes it life better for my team.
Oh, yeah.
Just the enemy team of Skarner. Slow is slower, especially early game, and then late game, it's not as strong.
I think.
Nerf that was definitely necessary.
I do agree it was necessary. I haven't been playing much for Skarner, just because I haven't been playing much for League. I haven't been finding anybody to really play with, and you and I have been too busy to align up our time, so
Correct.
I haven't been doing much for that. Syndra, I mean, she gets more mana now. That's definitely helpful. I did find her going quite a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And
More consistent with the EQ combo.
more consistent with the EQ combo for those noobs like myself.
Now, this is Riot's way of saying that not a lot of people play Syndra, so we'll give her a tiny buff that doesn't matter too much. We'll make her a bit more consistent, and for the people that do play her, and then it's like, but if you want to play her, I mean, she's out there. Like, it's like trying to play Season 3 Urgot. You try to play Season 3 Urgot, everybody in your team is going to be like, what the hell are you doing? Why? Right now, it's like Syndra. It's like, why are you yelling? There's not wrong with playing Syndra right now. It's just not a lot of people play her.
Yeah.
So they're just trying to increase her popularity because, she was so popular the past couple seasons. The Kench.
Oh, man, I love the catfish.
Unclog the frog.
Alright, so I do like this little fix for his Tongue Lash Devour combo. It was definitely something that
It was a little.
I'm looking forward to.
I would say it's already out, so it's basically a more. If I were to give it a description, it's not as clunky.
Yeah, they just mainly smoothed it out there, and the thick skin fix really helped me because
Colorblind.
I am a bit colorblind, so it's hard to see when I had enough, gray life to save myself.
Right.
But now that that's fixed, expect more Tom Kench out of me.
Oh yeah. Twitch stealths faster while in combat. This has
That's nice.
fucked me so many times before this buff happened. On Rengar though.
Yeah.
Not on Twitch, on Rengar. Go in combat, I'm almost dead. I can't stealth fast enough, it's gone.
I don't play Twitch. I don't see many Twitch, but
There's been a lot more lately.
I do imagine that's a nice little help.
No. Not much to talk about. You stealth faster when you're in combat so you can save your own ass sometimes. It's good because you're supposed to, max E first and then Q second for the extra stealth time as well as the lower cooldown, and then now you can do it more. Should be fine. Without, you can save your ass more. This is why Veigar is played in Worlds.
Oh god, I haven't even read this.
Q grants AP for assists, and W is delayed shortened. Now, Incarnation from Cloud9, and let me tell you, I'm showing on the screen right now, Cloud9 is 3-0 right now in Group B. They have not lost. Against, I believe it was AHQ. That Incarnation literally shat on those guys with Veigar.
Only a little bit.
But AP granting, instead of just farming it up, assists and champion kills, as well as farming with them, makes Veigar a really big thing. See, people are getting 1,000-something AP at 20 minutes with Veigar now.
It's crazy.
And that's ridiculous. And his dark matter delay is not as bad, and the cooldown has been reduced by 1/4 of a second because of this delay being shortened. Zyra. Plants will reprioritize attack targets when their primary target is obscured by Fog of War instead of simply ceasing to fire altogether. Plants now prioritize the target Zyra has most recently attacked rather than the closest target she has attacked in the past 4 seconds. Champions recently attacked will still be prioritized over minions.
I do like this.
This is this is literally, if I were to give this a
It's
description,
quality.
it's just a quality of life buff.
I like this because my biggest problem for playing Zyra is I didn't have or feel like I had enough attack speed or my cooldowns are too long. So this just gives that nice little, oh, well, if you're having problems killing this person, your plants are now smart enough to attack things that are close to you. Oh, gasp.
Right.
Something that was needed.
It wasn't a bad nerf, but quality of life buff. It's not bad. Definitely embraceable. Enchantment Devour. See, Devour was also covered in patch 5.19. So
the changes in 5.19 was it now procs every 4th hit instead of 3rd for ranged champions.
Right. So on
there's
top
nothing
of
really
this
there.
magic damage per stack getting reduced and sated Devour damage on hit getting reduced, and then on top of the 4 attacks, so basically ranged Devour is ridiculous now. It's like, don't even play it. Now, if you say you're playing Jungle Vayne, you still get more damage out of the enchantment Devourer than you would before with the 2 procs. And
Yes.
there's been math done by that. And me and my team on Skype have typed about it and talked about it and did the math because they're all mathematicians. They're all like math gods. It's ridiculous. We have a new analyst as well who's just the math god. Works with Warren and Rob. They all have the same job, basically, just different positions.
Mm-hmm.
And Vayne does more damage than before, but who plays Jungle Vayne, so it doesn't matter.
I've seen Vayne top lane with Devourer so much.
Enchantment Warrior, 5 AD. Not
Not
bad.
much to say there. Nice and simple.
Nice and simple.
Zeke's Harbinger.
Armor down, charge up
A
duration
slight
down.
nerf. I mean, it's a little bit harder to stack with AD champions, but that's about it.
Basically, less defense, more aggressiveness, more Zekes.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And
Dead
Deadman's
Man's
play it.
The W polymorph has been fixed.
This
2
is
Dead Man's Plate to
funny.
reduce the stacks. Now, before it didn't, it does now. It's like slowing. It's like anything with Dead Man's Plate. You get slowed down, you get polymorph. It's ridiculous.
They fixed the disappearing missiles.
Finally.
Which I had quite a few problems
No more.
with that.
Okay, the amount of people on Reddit that complained about Nidalee Q's disappearing, me discovering the Anivia Q bug that was reproducible 100% of the time. Fixed. It's gone. Howling Abyss doesn't matter to me.
Else isn't too much to be
HUD
covered.
HUD updates don't matter because they're
And we all know
They're
that
from last
Championship
patch.
Callista came out, so...
Championship Callista came out. It actually looks really, really good. I can't lie. It looks very nice.
I seen it, and I don't remember who used it in one of the World's games,
I
but
think it was
I did like it.
I think it was Imp.
Maybe.
LGD Imp. Maybe. We'll see. Moving on to patch 5.19.
Alright.
We're trying to get through this patch as fast as
This
possible.
one has 4 champion changes and 1 item change, and then
And
the
some
jungle
jungle
change.
changes.
That's it. So this
I
will
can
be
talk
real
about
quick.
the jungle change because I've been literally farming jungle the past 10, 20 games.
I have liked the jungle change because it's a lot easier to tell when
Right.
you're going to lose that potential on that jungle.
Right. Now, before we go into Kindred got pushed back into 5.20. Kindred found a game. There was a game-breaking bug found this patch with it in the PB.
Yes.
I don't remember what it's called. It's like PB something. PBS Kids.
Yes. That's
Kindred
where they
got
get
pushed
all
back
the
and will not be
breaking
released
news.
until 5.20. A lot of my Norwegian friends dislike this, but it's fine. Garen's E is now fixed. Nothing big. It does the extra 1% to the villains. It's fine. Misfortune has a bonus AD ratio, scaling AD ratio with ult.
do like that.
bogus. She's
it's
so
nice.
strong. She's already strong enough with her W.
Oh yeah.
And on top of this, her team fight 2v2 trades and just team fights in general are going to be way strong. It's going to be awesome.
I feel like she needed it.
This encourages
because-
most of the MFs to build like Black Cleaver instead of
Oh.
Last Whisper too.
Mhm.
So it makes it strong.
I like it.
E on Shen, fix the bug that causes taunted enemies to not deal reduced damage to Shen.
Something that was needed. He felt squishy the past few times I played him.
Right.
Before this patch, but he's looking good now.
Right.
And then Zach.
Zach. Let me close this tab. Elastic Slingshot fixed a bug. These are all bug fixes.
Mainly.
Fixed a bug where Elastic Slingshot had a minimum range of 300 units instead of 0.
I do like this. I had that problem quite a few times when I'd play Zach. Because it's all like, oh, you want to use it just to knock up somebody, so you want to bloop right on top of them. Well, now you can bloop on top of them.
Yeah.
Mid-team fight.
We talked
Bloopage.
about the State of Devourer change. Every
Yep,
fourth
nothing.
hit, we did the math on Vayne, does more damage, unchanged for melee champions, it's gone. Now with leashing and jungles,
Yes.
jungle monsters have a new thing called patience. It's a meter above their health bar, very, very slim. If you wear glasses and you play League without them, wear them. It's a very thin line. It's a white line as well. That every time the thing, this kind of sucks for Elise though, because every time that you try to like switch the target to a spider, the patience meter goes down,
Oh, yeah.
which is intentional, I believe. But they have this thing called patience, and it's only lose patience under the following conditions, as read here. When a monster is in an aggressive state but can't find any targets, so if it's trying to attack and can't find targets, it rapidly goes down. Like say if I walk in a bush, but it's like, oh, Grump can't, Grump's attacking me, and I think I can take it, and then you realize that you're stupid and that you can't take Grump, so you back out into the blue buff bush. That's when that's what it means. Patience will just rapidly go down. When a monster's target is too far away from the monster's initial spawn, you drag it too far, it'll start walking back and rapidly regenerating health. When the monster is forced to switch targets, which is when it goes down slightly.
I do like the change. I honestly do.
As I said, large monsters are above their health. Once a monster has recovered to 90% health, they regain all of their patience. Abilities that pull or displace monsters no longer completely reset the monster's aggro if they already had a previous target. That's what actually makes this fun. Yanking my chain. Jungle timing. Thanks to the new leashing rules above, this makes tanking Grump over the wall impossible. He'd lose all of his patience, so we're making him easier to kite and juggle without taking damage. So there's no more Blitzcrank pulling Grump over and then you stealing it. Because it'll be immediately patience to 0. Because its taken is going too far.
And then
because instead of taking it, I move this many Teemo units, as they like to call it, I walked all the way around is how that registers. So patience goes immediately to 0 and rapidly regenerate, you can't steal it. And then they decrease Gromp's attack range and decrease the Wolves' attack range, so you can't just do what you did with like TF Jungle before. Permanent rune sales, basic runes.
I do like this.
This helps the lower
the
people out, especially for people who just don't have runes. The 102 IP for armor, attack damage, and magic resist glyphs. Thank you. Greater Mark of Magic Pen from Season 3, 205. I still use Magic Pen. And then the greater quintessences are cut in half, practically. Love it.
I do like
There's not much to talk about it. It helps people out in the game that need to farm it, that understand the game more. They are not overwhelmed at level 20, because, most of the people who start playing League of these days have level 30 friends that introduce them to it. And they're like, oh yeah, and then they get overwhelmed. They're like, holy shit, I can't play this much. This is too much IP. And then they realize, later on that it's not that much IP.
On that, there's not much to say about.
We can look at the skins. Not much to say. Shadowfire Kindred comes out in 5.20 now, since it was pushed back. Mardu Alistar, Mardu Olaf. They have a new event on the League client. I believe I can pull it up right here. I cannot, because it's not here. It's only on the pre-launch screen.
Yep. Warden Jax, Warden Karma.
I think Malphite from the new Splash is about to come out.
This Karma skin's gonna look really nice.
I think the Jax will look really nice too. He'll finally have a real weapon.
Instead of a lamppost.
So a very glowy lamppost. It's like looking at a Diablo 3 character.
Hmm.
With like really dope like transmog from like the Heavens of Tyr. Act.
Yeah.
It's like looking at one of those guys. It's fun. This patch is tinier than the amount of skill it takes to play Garen or Darius. Feels good, man.
Sure. Otherwise, I think that's it for that.
Alright, well we have covered 5.18 and 5.19 in this video. Next, in our next episode, we're going to be talking about Worlds, what we think about the current placements, how surprising it was to us, as well as what we can predict in the next couple days' games. My name is Hayden.
And I'm Alex.
And we will see you in the next video. Thank you very much.